A very warm welcome to Poetry at Sādhanā first live session. Today we are in a conversation with Nibedita Rajguru. Hi Nibedita and welcome to the live interaction. Nibedita is one of the first seekers of Poetry as Sādhanā. And she has been very sincere and diligently attended all the sessions. Thank you, Nibedita.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful opportunity. I'm looking forward to talk about my book and having a good interaction with you.
Yeah, sure, Nibedita. Before we begin, let me share a little about Nibedita. Nibedita lives in Bangalore, and the book today we are going to explore today, A Rainbow Without Yellow, is her first fiction book. She is also a poet, and her debut poetry book is Reveries in Time. Nibedita holds a master's in business administration, and she writes straight from the heart. When I read her book, I felt a deep connect to it. And today we are going to explore her book and also her writing journey. The book carries some live, palpable insights that I could resonate and connect deeply with. These insights answered some of the questions I was carrying in my body. And I'm sure when you listen to this conversation, you might find somewhere yourself present. In the book, the journey as it unfolds, it carries a universal rhythm to it and touches upon themes that are not exclusive, but we all usually in our everyday lives, in our journeys, connect to those themes. So today, Nibedita is going to share about how the book came into being and how the characters shaped. So Nibedita, my first question to you is, what is your sadhana as far as writing, when it comes to writing?
Sadhana for me is my inner discovery. It is connecting with my soul and understanding my own self in a very better way, in a clearer way. So the more I write, the more I understand my inner depths, the places where I hadn't visited earlier, or the truth that I had hidden within myself, or the stories that I had not discovered in any point of time. My sadhana and my journey of writing gave me the strength, the courage to discover all the places that was not explored earlier.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to discover yourself through writing. And when we access those spaces that are there in us and we find ourselves only and newer emergence coming through that, we unlayer ourselves only and come deep closer to whatever is in the deepest corners of our body. Thank you.
Yes.
So you have written a poetry book and you have also written fiction. So between poetry and fiction, what comes more naturally to you? Is it poetry or fiction? Or if both, then how do you blend the two?
Poetry is my natural flair. I began writing poetry when I was 18. It comes very naturally to me. And that the habit of writing at some point of time became a passion, became a reason to explore myself, and I felt alive when I felt that the journey of writing keeps me it helps me to be very happy, and I feel very connected with this process of writing poetries. So poetry comes very naturally to me, ma'am. So that's my first love. And fiction is something that I wanted to explore further. rather than just limiting myself to poetry writing or writing poems. I wanted to try literary fiction and uh, writing lyrical proses, which is a blend of both both prose and poetry. It is a prose. The book is it's like literary fiction. It leans more towards atmosphere, towards feelings, emotions, and less towards plot and drama.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like it leans less towards drama because the way with whiteness the story unfolds, despite like this story carrying so many intricacies of human like weaknesses also and strengths also,
Strengths
but
also, yes.
still it unfolds in a very subtle, gentle way, and everything is portrayed in a very positive light. It's not
Yes.
that when you are mentioning about the not so good, it is coming across as very hard to the readers. It is a soft touch.
Yes. It is dealt with grace. It's very gracefully written from
Mhm.
a place which does not hold bitterness. The character moves through past and present. She blends past and present, and the character discovers the ambiguity that she faces, the self doubt. Because when the road to chaos, the road to clarity from chaos isn't straight. It is a journey where you have to enter self doubt, guilt, remorse, pain, unbearable pain, and various aspects, negative emotions that one does not usually feel comfortable to revisit again. But once the journey begins, and with slowly and very steadily, one holds the strength, the light to go to the hidden corners with the help of a light, then finally, when the journey ends, there is brightness on the other side. So the
Yeah.
brightness on the other side is the clarity that the character achieves, and she decides that whatever happens, happens for the good.
Yeah.
And there is no ambiguity then left in her. There is no remorse, there is no pain lingering inside her. She achieves a clarity, a point where everything is distilled clear to her, and she knows if she has done something, why she has done it.
Yeah. In fact, I was touched by the maturity of the main lead, Anaya. So,
Yes.
did you consciously create those qualities before you started to write, or they evolved during the process of writing?
Uh, Basically, when I thought of writing the book, Anaya's character was not very clear. I had some idea about her, but as I went through, I wanted to show her as a person who is very compassionate, who is conflicted also,
Mhm.
who is fighting between desire and duty. As a young girl, she had faced some difficulties in her emotional journey, in her emotional journey with the love that she was involved in. But as she unravels again and revisits the whole journey at a certain point of time later in her life, she deals it with very courageously and maturely. She has emotional maturity also. So
Yeah.
when as I wrote, I understood that there can be two aspects to this complete book. One who is not naive, a girl who is uncertain, who is dealing with emotions for the very first time. Everything is very overwhelming for her. But when she revisits it again later in a later journey, in a later part of life, she is more aware. She knows that the things that she had chosen then was the right thing that she had done. And even after when she revisits the same things again without any kind of guilt or remorse or pain or something, any kind of emotions, she knows that she has done something which was right then and it is right now.
Yeah. Like she carries an inner strength and also
Yes.
is very dignified as a
Yes.
girl also, and later
As
as a woman.
women. Yes.
Yeah, most of the girls and women were watching us today. So
Okay.
it would be nice if you share with them, or even for men. because so many insights this book carries.
Yes.
How to be so stable and not get overpowered by intense emotions of love, or to be like in a state of chaos. And because Anaya chose stability, it
Yes.
reflected peace to her. She
Yes.
wanted a stable and peaceful life.
Yeah. Emotional intensity is overwhelming, but emotional intensity should come with a grounding. It has to be grounded with certain knowledge, certain awareness that things may be very intense, can feel very overwhelming, but it should not lead you to it should not distract the character, distract the person, and lead to something that they're not supposed to do. Even if the emotion is very strong, what is consciously chosen is the right thing to be done at that point of time. So
Yeah.
righteousness gives you stability, and it is
Mhm.
more powerful than emotional intensity.
Yeah. In case of Anaya, I see her upbringing, maybe her parents, the environment she was brought up in, and maybe the other character whose name is Shakti.
Yes.
So he might not have experienced the same upbringing and the environment. So not everybody is blessed like Anaya to have such supportive parents. And
Yes.
here, the protagonist Anaya shows that reflection to Shakti and
Yes.
just lets him go. Any thing that you would like to share about letting go? Because letting go is not easy. And there are two different views. The characters have displayed totally different characters as far as letting
Yes.
go goes. Yeah.
Letting go is for Anaya because she's the main lead of the book. For Anaya,
Mhm.
letting go is something that does not include bitterness. When you
Yeah.
have to let go a relationship, it has to be kind. It has to be uh, not revengeful. It has to be something that comes with blessings. That when you're letting go the person, when the character lets go the other person from her internal world completely, she does not do it with bitterness. She blesses instead. Even if the character has not the male character, the other character has not done, has done something very bad to her, or has done something which was not right in some way, she does not. She is not bitter towards him. She lets go him with kindness and blesses her future, and remembers him as someone who is wonderful, and cherishes the memories that they create together, instead of just being very blaming the character, or accusing the person, or pushing the person to into emotional accountability and responsibility for all that the character of the Anaya faces at some point of time. She lets go the person without any kind of grudges, any kind of bitter feelings.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for like portraying her character in a way that many girls, women relate to the spirit of letting go. Because letting go is also important if the foresight that Anaya displayed that this relationship may lead to a lot of chaos and instability in future and might not survive the love that it is presently carrying. Do you think
Yes.
in letting go, Anaya could fill that space that might have been left by Shakti?
Yes. The space is filled by your own love for herself. Self love is the greatest form of love.
Yeah, yeah.
You choose yourself. The most powerful thing, I will share this to every woman who is watching today, that in whatever relationship one is, it is good or bad, in whatever situation one should not abandon oneself. Your true self, you should stand by your true self, your own story. You should stand by the story that you hold within you. And there, the strength arises from a place of truth. Truth and acceptance gives you the power that nothing ever can give you at some point of time. So when the person is gone from her life, the vacuum is filled by her self-love, by love of herself, but the love for everything she feels that she should achieve or she should do in future. And she thinks that letting go gave her the space which she can fill by all the other colors in her life. Like the book is named The Rainbow Without Yellow. The yellow is the color for self love. We choose us over everything, and that is not selfishness, that is self preservation.
Yeah. When I was reading, like I could connect to Anaya so deeply, like how much strength it needs to let go with grace. It is
Yes.
not easy, and especially girls like get pulled and drawn and overwhelmed in the current
Yes,
of
yes.
love. They get
Ma'am,
so
one thing I
blinded.
would, yes, I think I would like to add one thing for all the listeners who are watching today, that it is easier to blame others. That's the most easiest thing, to hold others responsible for all the pain that we have within us. But do we ever sit with our own discomfort? Do we just sit with the discomfort and examine the places where we went wrong, where a girl should, because anytime anything breaks, any relationship breaks, there is not one reason, specific reason for the breakup, and the reason comes from both the sides. So a person when faces such kind of emotionally intense situations of breakup, or of uh, not being chosen, being rejected, loss, then it is very human tendency for the person to blame the other person, the situations, the person who are involved in the situation, in the particular whole thing. But then how many of us just sit with our own discomfort? Do we
Yeah.
also examine what we have done wrong, or where these things could have been better if we would have chosen to be little more restrained, little more matured, little more dignified, little more understanding? That is where compassion comes, because empathy is one skill that everyone should nurture it.
Yeah. Because in when Anaya lets Shakti go, Shakti was
Yes,
filled with rage, and she saw his. She was getting aware of the true character, his true character, and then when he really displayed it, when she was letting go gracefully, she could see it all the more clearly that her choice was right. It would
yes,
have never worked. And but there you also mention, you write like in a very using imagery, and as you yourself mentioned, like prose and lyrical prose. I take the liberty of reading this, like you say about letting go here, like when a relationship ends, must it always crumble into bitterness?
yes,
Can it
yes.
not dissolve with grace, untouched by the world's appetite for drama? It
Yeah.
has been written so well because usually there is drama involved.
Yes,
Yeah. So, like Shakti, the name itself, Shakti, it is in opposition to what actually he displays. Uh, Shakti, yes, intellectual capability he has. He's well aware about what goes on in the world, but he does not know himself. Like, as
yes,
cliche it may sound to you and the listeners, like as if Anaya was holding a mirror to him, and she could see the real Shakti. So she
yeah,
lets him gracefully so that he can also discover and find himself.
yes.
So, do you consciously name the character Shakti?
Yes, I consciously named the character Shakti because it was just a character, ma'am. But then the depth of a character is built through the good qualities of the character and the bad qualities. Because good a person is not perfect always. No one is perfect. So when we discover in storytelling, when we are writing characters, the depth of a character comes from coexistence of good qualities and bad qualities. It is not necessary that you have to, one good quality has to cancel out the bad quality, or the bad quality has to cancel out the good quality. It can coexist. A person can be very admirable, very structured, very disciplined, very successful. At the same time, in case of relational dynamics, the person can be most unavailable, maybe he is not interested to take any kind of responsibility for all the misconducts and the impact of what his wrongdoings have brought into the relationship. He can be a person who is uh, not available, as I said, emotionally unavailable, and also very careless regarding others, not empathetic at all. So
Yeah.
all these things can coexist together.
Yeah. So, would you like to share a poem or any passage that you feel totally, really connected to anything with the viewers today?
Yes, yes, sure. So this is from the chapter that I had written called Gold Between Sand and Silences, the chapter 7th of the book. Truth has a quiet way of unraveling, linking hearts with an invisible thread of yearning. What makes this bond visible isn't proof of or reason, but the quiet acceptance that it exists. That alone gives its color, orange, warm and eternal, like ambers that never die. And when love breathes across those ambers, they glow again, not as flames of passion, but as steady light, persistent, alive. Anaya tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and sat at her desk, pen in hand, she wrote. Between sand and silence, there's a poetry that follows. Sometimes I wander in the alleys of my mind. This is what Anaya writes. And seek you in the breath I have left behind. We cherished the colors of the sun on ripples of water. From settling around our bare feet, we dug holes with our hands, the moist sand clinging to us like we were sculptors of our own story. The story never began. I see a glimpse of words we shared, hiding in the crab holes, partly visible, partly buried under sand. I still wait to join the broken pieces of a jumbled tail and middle beginning, all scattered like dry weeds on the shore. Dried yet green, as if still lived. Between us, like whispers of unspoken dreams. Do you feel the same? Your laughter echoes in the air, the wind carries your fragrance, and my eyes seek you in the mundane. So
Uh,
this is a poetry that Anaya writes when she thinks about some moments of her past that sometimes resurfaces in our lone moments. So
yeah.
letting go is not easy. Sometimes things resurface. Sometimes it does not resurface. Sometimes it is bitter. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it is poignant. So all the colors are visible in the book.
So, how did you come up with this language of colors, like the concept of colors that you have used? How did this
Uh,
emerge from?
that is, I was actually, when I was writing the book, it was rainbow, the colors of the rainbow. Because every emotion that I wanted to write in the book, the character is going through, should have a color, I thought. It can be intense like red, it can be orange like ambers, it can be green like she refound, like something that is still living inside her. It can be black, it can be gray, letting go, it can be very sharp also. So all these colors I wanted to include. Indigo also, it's like very positive colors, but also I wanted to include some negativity, some kind of shadow that lingers in the positive colors. So when I was writing the book, I was thinking that can this be a book where every color finds some manifestation, some kind of place in the book where every color has something to say, something to feel, something to uh, again wander in the alleys of the labyrinth of passion, love, loss, and then refine itself and see that the color does not fade. It just brightens with every time it's written clearly, more visibly. Then I thought that more specifically, I should write A Rainbow Without Yellow because it's a book which deals with self discovery. The character goes through all the colors of rainbow, then finds a distilled color that she names herself, and that is the color yellow. She chooses to keep the yellow with herself.
Hmm.
Every poetry she writes is a tint of that color. that where she chooses herself over every other thing that she comes across.
And what is the reason she retains yellow? For the sake of sun or the truth? Because sun carries the truth
Yes,
also.
sun is a bright. She is always enamored. She's always intrigued, or she always loves brightness. She always loves positivity. So sun is a color she's always, as a child, she always wanted to. Uh, she was always drawn to, and she was also inspired from sun, because sun, the color of sun is bright, is represents brightness, and it, even if it touches every dark corner of the world, it brightens
Yeah.
every dark corner of the world. And sun does not uh, sun brightens every corner of the world, and it does not feel that if anyone is not happy with the brightness of the sun also, it doesn't feel anything that should hold back the brightness of the sun. Sun colors brightens every corner, and it is always positivity that comes with sun's colors, with the brightness of the sun. So the race lingers in her mind as she writes all the poetries. And yellow is the brightness, the positivity, the self strength, the courage that she wants to keep for herself while letting go the colors that has already, she has already crossed all the colors. She's already named all the colors. And then the only color she keeps is the color of the sun.
And like the character keeps only the color yellow. Do you see yourself, how much of Nibedita is present in Anaya? Be it the
Uh,
character traits
if
or
the character
any.
Anaya is a character that has so much of, yeah, grace of course, but she has also some innovation, some kind of fear, some kind of lingering attachment, some kind of desire, a duty, the feeling that it is right or wrong, the guilt, every other shade that book. But basically, Anaya, the character shows the grace of me, of my grace, the grace that I hold within myself is written through Anaya.
Yeah, that contained personality that is not everywhere,
Yes.
that comes across in the book. Because in like not too many pages, I will say the book, that is why it is a delightful read, because you said too much, like in few, like 140 pages. I don't remember exactly how many pages are there,
142
but
pages. It's 142
yeah,
pages.
yeah, and so much of you could you pack into it, and nothing, no strand extra, and nothing redundant. Also, everything was much needed. Yeah, thank you
Yes.
for writing such a book. In fact, where you write about your family, even the house. I love the imagery and even the way the writing shapes in your book. You were talking about courage. You mentioned about the shape of courage, even the shape, different shapes, like the love, the pain folds itself within you or something. The letter, like a letter, it folds within you. Or even when the question, I don't know where it was, but the question lingers like a grain of sand, as if it is,
Yes.
I could feel it as if it is rubbing something inside, because you want the answer. And I, like all of us, we want the answer. So this imagery about your house, or this, where do you draw inspiration from for the imagery and for your writing?
This imagery, this imagery feels very lived, because Anaya's house, the complete thought came from what my house looks like. Because I thought I'll be doing more justice when I give an imagery which I have already lived. I have already had some kind of attachment, some kind of relationship with it. And so this particular aspect in the book is the imagery that I have with my family, or I have with the house that I have grown up in. So the imagery that I've shared with Anaya in Anaya is the imagery that I actually lived in. So that is because that gives more authenticity to the imagery, to the complete thought of her family, her background. And I thought that if I make my feelings, that particular aspect, that it will feel the readers could be able to more will be able to connect with the imagery very nicely. So
And like you mentioned about courage also. What is the shape of courage for you?
shape of courage for me is like ripples of sea. It has no particular shape. It is, it surges, it flows,
Hmm.
it ebbs like the tides of the sea. So at one
Yeah,
point of time, you will see Anaya to be very courageous, to enter the waves and to examine each grain of sand or maybe each drop of water, and then she ebbs, she goes back because now she has another world to be with, and she cannot always enter the world which she has already left. So sometimes she goes inside it, sometimes she also steps back from that, uh, from the tide, from the surging waves. So for me, courage, like Anaya, is nothing concrete. It is a moment where the wave surges up and then again falls down.
yeah. In one of the passage you mentioned, with when Anaya is with her family and Shakti had called, like there were three people holding hands and
Yes.
emptiness, and they could learn what it is without breaking. Like they could breathe without breaking. Whereas
Yes.
Shakti shows rage. That's
Yeah.
so beautiful. I could visualize that. So will you like to dwell more on what one side you mentioned about rage, the character Shakti displays rage, and there were three of you um, who were holding on because he didn't want to feel that emptiness. What is emptiness in letting go?
Emptiness is the place where Anaya didn't feel lonely,
Mhm.
because she was facing some kind of coercion in that particular place, some kind of pressure, some kind of invisible pressure. Yes, pressure only, where
Hmm.
she is wanting to take some decision and she's held back by another one. So it's a place where she's unclear. She's little not, she's wavering. She's not very strong that I have to stand with this, because there is some other pressure also that she wants to resist. She wants to go along with another one, and there is some resistance also inside her. So it's a place where she has to hold hands and say, no, whatever be the reason, I have to hold on with strength with my family, and I have to choose what right is. Not that the family is saying or something someone else is saying. What is right at that point of time for her, she will choose that. So righteousness, consciously choosing righteousness over overwhelming emotions or pressure or resistance, is the only thing that emptiness dissolves into. So emptiness is filled by with her own strength of choosing the right thing.
Yeah, uh, choosing stability, choosing the
Yes.
what is right, because what was
She,
needed for
yes,
that.
she mostly Anaya did not walk away because of pressure, because of some kind of fear, because of some kind of weakness, because some kind of confusion. She walked away with strength, knowing with discernment, thoughtfully, that something which is not safe for her, she does not feel the emotional safety in it, she will not choose that for herself. And at that point of time, it was self-preservation. It was preserving her own instincts and her gut feeling, her own inner voice that should not be drowned with by any kind of thoughts that overpower at that point of time. So she is very strong in that way.
Yeah. It some like you also write about like what is real she knows will stay even if she lets go and chooses herself and what she wants, consciously choosing things, even like, so what is real for you that stays even in the wake of letting go gracefully?
Real is something that the lessons from the wounds, the lessons from the experiences of life, the lessons that is hardened, is done through lot of interrogation, lot of reflection, interrogation, lot of examination, and the distilled clarity that is achieved after going through all the chaos. That is the lesson. That is the hardened lesson. That wisdom that we churn out of all the experiences of life. That is the real thing. That is the residue of all that stays with a person with every experience I'm talking about, not just one experience. Every experience lives gives you a lesson. That lesson is the most important aspect that should be chosen and just should stay with the person, not to be like again any situation that comes up again in life. These lessons will help as a guiding light for all the future experiences, and the choices that we make, the decisions we take are helped by the guiding light are the lessons that we already have experienced in our life, and we choose through them.
Yeah. Thank you for putting it out so beautifully. And because that's true, whatever experiences we have, and they become a guiding light for future, whatever decisions we take or the life we live. So, Anaya, in your opinion, she has closed the chapter of Shakti, um, and completely moved on, or because somewhere you write, in if one day we return head above the water, we swim in the same something direction, like as
Yes, yes.
two
No,
and that I
by
don't
the
remember.
end, if you have, yes, yes, ma'am. So by the end, as you have, if you have read the book, she writes a letter, her last letter, because the book is also has poetries, has prose, lyrical proses, and also has letters that she writes to herself at various points of time, just to make herself more aware, more clear. So the last letter is letting go. She lets go respectfully and closes the chapter with dignity, externally and internally.
Okay.
There is no coming back, there is no revisiting, there is no going anywhere. This is something that has to come out of the system of Anaya completely. So she chooses to let go as with a letter, again with a letter that she folds and then she sends to that person, saying that I've revisited the whole thing gracefully. I have done enough introspection, in enough inspection of scrutiny of the whole thing, and re-examination, re-evaluation of the whole story. And what lesson that I've arrived is that my strength is finite, is the most. um I believe in the story that I hold inside me, and I'm going to choose myself over every other thing. And in this process, I'm letting you go completely from my own self, from my history, from my complete internal rhythm. Any kind of vibration that comes later, any kind of thing that comes forward, will not arise anything inside the character, will not bring, like, there will be no emotions attached to it, there will be nothing attached to it. So it is just a ripple that comes and goes away without bringing any emotional charge to it. So letting go is completely going, cutting off everything. There is no charge left in that emotion anymore, and it is detachment also.
Yeah. Yeah, it's detachment also. No charge left. It's a closure.
Yes, even if it
Yeah.
comes, nothing will be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably my internet connection is weak because you are freezing on my screen. One last question, because we have already crossed the time limit. Would you like to read any other poem or passage? Brief
Yes.
one?
Yeah, I believe I had something to share. Yes. Uh, so I'll read this part, the last part of the book that I wrote. Does love manipulate? Or does it only wound when it clinches too tightly in the dark? Does love pull back one another in the dynamics of hurt? Or does it steady in, or it is, or does it steady enough to release? Does it wrestle with truth? Or does it finally accept it and let go? Love can be true, yet never enough. Love can be real, yet still asked to be surrendered. For even the deepest love is not proven by how tightly it holds on, but by whether it allows both hearts to remain whole.
Yeah, not to hold it tightly. Yeah,
Yes.
not to, yeah, that's a deep insight. In fact, I will share the link with the viewers, Amazon link. It's also available on the publisher's website if anyone would like to read Rainbow Without Yellow. Before we close, Nibedita, I will ask you quick questions,
Yes.
one word answers,
Yeah.
and we'll gracefully exit then. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed the conversation and
Thank you so much, ma'am.
interaction. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah.
I also
One,
I'm
yeah,
hopeful that the viewers also take insight from the story, the book. It is written with a lot of depth, a lot of care, and a lot of strength. So hopefully it will connect with all the readers who are watching me today, and
yeah,
they'll get some insight, some lessons through the story that I have written.
yeah. Yeah, I'm sure because as I already shared with you, there's so many insights that the readers can connect to with the book. I was even wondering it can be converted into a film because it carries that message that is
Yeah.
important to be put out in the world. Thank you so much to all the viewers also before, because we will close down after this, for listening and who would be listening later and joining us in this conversation. You're welcome to ask questions later on also. So, last 1 minute, quick questions with you.
Yes, yes, please. Yeah.
One one word for God, or what feels ultimate for you. One word
One word.
for what,
One word for
for what, God, divine, or whatever is highest for you.
it's divinity. Yes, some inner voice that is not suppressed under any kind of situation. Inner voice is my God.
Inner voice. Okay. Stillness or movement.
Stillness.
Okay. Present shape of love.
Present shape of love, stability, maturity, trust, faith.
Yeah.
There are four words,
Yeah.
not just one word.
Thank you. Thank you. And what remains when all words disappear or fall?
Truth.
Like,
Truth
yeah.
remains through
Yeah.
past, to
Yeah.
present, to future. The only thing that brightens is the truth, and it is has the color of the sun. It is yellow.
On that note, we should bring this conversation to a close with the color of truth and the yellow color that Anaya has kept for herself. And I'm sure you all have one favorite and precious color that you would like to keep for yourself that will help you fall in self love and choosing yourself first and not abandoning the very person and the very essence that is in you. Thank you so much, Nibedita, and thank you to
Thank you
viewers.
for this wonderful conversation, ma'am. I also equally enjoyed the way you asked the questions, and every time I had to again dig deeper into myself and understand that all I have written is something that I wanted to share with many readers. And I hope that everyone who reads the book will find something very beautiful in the book. And it will be a story where everyone can connect and find one color that is their color, and they would choose that color for themselves.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.